A federal judge just slapped a $50,000 fine on former President Trump's lawyers. Why? Well, for filing a, quote, frivolous lawsuit against former Secretary of State and former Democratic presidential nominee Hillary Clinton. That lawsuit was filed earlier this year. The lawsuit claimed that Clinton, along with other Democrats, conspired to rig the 2020 election. Florida U.S. District Judge Donald Middlebrooks, appointed, by the way, by President Bill Clinton, handed down his decision yesterday. The judge is requiring the lawyers on that lawsuit to pay a combined $50,000 penalty to the court. Additionally, Trump's lawyers must pay $16,200 to public relations executive Charles Dolan. Dolan was one of the defendants in the lawsuit and represented himself. The judge said that the pleadings filed by the lawyers contained many false claims about Dolan and his influence in the Clinton campaign. In his written order, Judge Middlebrooks said that Trump's lawyers showed a, quote, cavalier attitude towards facts throughout the case. According to the Hill News, Alina Habba, one of Trump's lawyers who got sanctioned, said that they plan to appeal the judge's decision. Former federal prosecutor Joseph Moreno joins me. Joe, they were hit with a Rule 11. Which is a civil rule, right?
That's right, Greta, yes.
And what's different about this is that it's not Trump who did anything wrong, the court's saying. They're saying the lawyers.
Right. So when you file a federal civil lawsuit, as one of the lawyers, you have to attest to three things, basically. That you have adequate facts to support your allegations, that you have a true and accurate legal theory to support your allegations, and three, you're not bringing the lawsuit for an improper purpose, such as to harass someone. Judge Middlebrooks basically said the lawsuit here failed all three of those tests. And therefore, so Rule 11, it's not common.
I was just going to say, Rule 11 was so rarely used when I practiced law.
It is rare. I mean, it's common to have cases thrown out, right? That happens all the time, where you can have partial or fully cases just dismissed for whatever reason. But to go further and say not only does this case not have merit, but it's so egregious that we're going to punish the party that brought it and the lawyers involved, yeah, it's pretty bad.
You know, one thing I did notice, I thought the legal fees were low. That's the one thing I did notice. I mean, that, oddly enough, is I thought they were getting hammered with, huge legal fees. It must have happened quite early on in the litigation.
Yeah, I'm guessing the 50,000 plus 16K is not really going to put a real dent in anyone's pocket. It's maybe more symbolic, but it's a reminder that look, you can say all kinds of things on social media. You can say all kinds of things in speeches if you're a political figure, but you go to court, particularly federal court, you really want to be able to back up your allegations with real facts and real legal theories.
But you can even have a novel legal theory that's just one that's, that may turn out to be ridiculous in the end, but you don't get Rule 11.
No.
I mean, you have to, I guess when I look at this, you have to really, go off the edge.
Yeah, it's pretty bad, really. And what I think is a shame here, though, Greta, is that I don't know the basis for why they brought this case, if it was really just a public relations stunt or if they really thought it would go somewhere. The problem I see, though, is that what this comes down to is a lot of the Russia collusion allegations and whether it happened at all. And looking back, we do know that the core allegations that the Trump campaign colluded with Russia were largely nonsense. And yet we have a special counsel in John Durham.
And it was linked to the Clinton campaign.
Right. So the idea that the Trump camp was in bed with Russia, look, they did plenty of things wrong. And having people like Paul Manafort involved in the campaign wasn't a good look. But in terms of just the collusion narrative, it was nonsense. And I'm sure that the Trump camp feels that they would like to kind of get back, right? They're owed something. They want some kind of vindication. They're not going to get it with this lawsuit. The idea that this would vindicate them or show some kind of a collusion between the Hillary camp and the media and the FBI and all that, it's not going to pan out. And so I can get the frustration. They're just not really playing it out right.
Well, what I understand is that the way it's portrayed in the media too is it almost like Trump filed it. Trump didn't file it. It's his lawyers. You can have a client who's pushy, but nonetheless, you're the one who signed the papers.
That's right. Yes, you have an obligation.
And it's not just one lawyer here who got sanctioned. I'm thinking, how does this make it through so many lawyers? Unless the judge is a complete nut, which I don't have any information on that. But it's really unusual. So many lawyers signed off on this.
You do have an obligation to sort of educate your client, and even clients that can be handfuls.
You can refuse.
Absolutely.
You don't have to file stuff that's like this.
Absolutely. So there are times when you have to push back with your client and say, hey, look, I know you feel passionately about this. I know you have these theories in your head, but if it's not going to fly in court, we're in some real danger here. So, I mean, there clearly was a breakdown.
But you think even the lawyers have some sort of survival instinct and not file something? I mean, assuming that, they're going to take it up on appeal. I mean, everybody appeals everything. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen to court appeals. Most people don't win their appeals. But you think that the lawyers would have had more of a survival interest in terms of not signing something. If it's as bad as the judge said, then the judge said blistering things. He just said, he was talking about, this cannot be attributed to incompetent lawyering. It was a deliberate use of the judicial system to pursue a political agenda. I mean, he hasn't minced words.
No, I mean, he basically said it was a harassment case. It was basically, it was used to harass, there was 29 different defendants, right? So it wasn't just Hillary Clinton. It was former FBI officials and names that you would know, and this person, Charles Dolan, who's the one who got the payment this time. So, judges don't like that. And again, lawyers have an obligation to really educate their client. And a client might feel passionate, might feel completely justified in bringing a case. But if the facts and the law aren't on your side, be careful, because this is what could happen.
All right, any chance, we haven't seen, we don't know much more about this than what we read in the plea and stuff. Any chance to an appeal?
I mean, it's always a chance.
Can you get Rule 11 on an appeal, bringing a frivolous appeal?
I don't
even know if you can on that.
I don't even know about that, but anything's possible, I suppose.
Anyway,
but I'd be careful.
We'll be watching this anyway. Thank you, Joe.
Thanks,
Hope you
Joe.
come back.